Welcome to Flight 5150. This is Dynamite, your captain speaking. Our altitude is 37,000 feet and our speed is about 400 miles an hour. Buckle your seatbelts as we touch down in beautiful Massachusetts. Redfall is the latest concoction from Arkane Studio and the follow-up to Deathloop. It is releasing later in May. So let's dive into everything we know so far, and at the end I'll give you my thoughts about it. But first, let's see the facts. While Deathloop was very familiar to what Arkane Studio has done in the past, but with a roguelike twist, with Redfall here, the twist is an open-world looter shooter. Bang bang! The game takes place in a fictional small town of Redfall, Massachusetts, where an experiment went wrong and the town has been taken over by vampires. Oh, and these vampires? They might have blocked out the sun, Mr. Burns style. It's now up to 4 playable characters at launch, with unique skills to uncover the mysteries laying below the surface and to liberate the town. Though the title can be played with 4-player co-op, when playing solo there will be no bots with you. Here's another fun fact. Characters will be untethered while playing online, so everyone is free to explore the map as they wish, but when they are grouped up, they will receive a buff. Recently, outlets and gamers were invited to play the game, but for some reason, no one got to play in multiplayer, which I think was a missed opportunity there. I'm sure that there are good reasons for that, but if only 1 or 2 outlets had played multiplayer, it would have been a golden opportunity for us. It's important to keep in mind that only the host story progress is saved while playing in multiplayer, but the player level and inventory are persistent. Players in the same session can control 2 and more versions of the same character. There will be cosmetic items to unlock to personalize your character, but the devs confirmed that there was no online store within the game, so no microtransactions here. Another thing that was reported is that the stealth aspect was not present like in their previous games, at least with the abilities that people had at the time when they played the game. There is no takedown prompt when approaching an enemy from the back, yet stealth is still an option to get around enemies, to thin out the herd, and to complete objectives since the enemy AI is based on sight and sound. Many were initially concerned about the gunplay, myself included. And the good thing is, from all the accounts that I've gone through, it didn't seem to be any issue for the people that played the game, and I'm really relieved to hear that. To add another layer to combat, vampires, unlike human enemies, cannot be killed by conventional weapons. They must be finished off with specific blood-sucking killing tools of the trade. Arkane Studio mentioned how this game is similar to the Far Cry games, and I can definitely see that with the outposts to take over, parts of town to liberate, overall narrative story, and the prepper stash, exploration side missions that they have placed throughout the map. Although this game features weapon with attachment, it has been reported that the player cannot craft or mix and match accessories, but instead they will find guns that already have these attachments kind of anchored to them. That being said, most accounted that the guns were fine, and it seemed like customization was not a huge concern for them. You can add a stake as a bayonet to your weapon, but no scope, laser sight attachments of the sort. What drew me to Redfall is something that was reinforced when most reported that the world building and the environmental storytelling was as strong as ever. The loot felt properly placed. Players are encouraged to use the environment to their advantage, to experiment with the enemies and with other players, letting you use hazards to your advantage or having them being used against you. Every character has special skills that can be upgraded to match many playstyles, and this should be the most exciting system to play with. The dev did mention that there were no plans to have respec options for the upgrade tree though. Another exciting feature is the nests, displayed as psychedelic dungeons where the game will present tougher enemies and bigger rewards containing within them. These encounters will be replayable and they will be procedurally generated. The world is separated in sections that can be fully explored on foot, and every section of the map has safe houses, missions, and their own underbosses to fight. While on the topic, they showed us this rook type of enemy that gets summoned to an area when you cause too much trouble for the vampires. So it seems like there should be a lot to keep players on their toes here. From what they've revealed about the enemies and the setting, I can imagine all the possibilities while going in with my friends and blasting through these unsettling environments. My biggest worry is that many reported that it felt like something was missing while playing solo, that the sets of abilities that they had felt like they only had one half of the tools needed to do the job. We'll have to wait and see when we get more time with Redfall. They confirmed that Redfall was crossplay between PC and Xbox, and that they were attempting to remove the always online features. As mentioned before, there is no microtransaction in the game, but I don't know how I feel about having no respec option. On one hand, it makes your points more valuable, but on the other hand, if you make a mistake, you're kind of screwed there. Now, when I think about it, Far Cry, Borderlands, Back 4 Blood were all games that we had a lot of fun playing co-op with, even if they weren't masterpieces. So I'm expecting to have the similar mileage with Redfall. And that's what we call a smooth landing. Ladies and gents, thank you for choosing Dynamite Airline.